How did they find him? For 10 years, the most powerful military in history hunted a ghost. Osama bin Laden vanished into thin air. Satellites couldn't see him. Spies couldn't find him. And then, one night in Abbottabad, they got him.
Rumors have circulated for a decade that the breakthrough didn't come from a soldier on the ground. It came from a piece of software.
We are talking about a company that doesn't advertise. A company that was born in the shadows of the Pentagon. A company that knows more about you than you know about yourself. You are worried about TikTok stealing your dance moves. You are worried about Google selling your search history. That is child's play. There is a company that integrates your bank records, your phone location, your license plate, your flight history, and your relationships into a single, terrifyingly clear picture. It's called Palantir, and it is the operating system of the modern world.
Chapter 1: The PayPal Mafia and the CIA, the origin.
To understand Palantir, you have to go back to PayPal. Yes, PayPal. Peter Thiel and his team built a system to detect fraud. They had to find the bad guys hiding among millions of transactions.
After 9/11, Peter Thiel asked a dangerous question. What if we used this same technology, not to find credit card thieves, but to find terrorists?
But nobody in Silicon Valley wanted to build it. It was too controversial, too invasive. So, who funded them? The CIA, through their venture capital arm, In-Q-Tel. From day one, Palantir wasn't a startup. It was a weapon. They didn't build it to sell ads. They built it to hunt humans.
Chapter 2: The Technology, the Ontology.
Here is the technical secret that makes Palantir different from everything else. Most companies store data in rows and columns, like a giant Excel sheet. It's dumb. It doesn't understand context. Palantir built something called the Ontology. They don't see data. They see objects and relationships. In Palantir's world, a phone number isn't just a number. It is an object connected to a person, who is connected to a location, which is connected to a crime. It creates a digital twin of reality.
If a factory in Germany breaks down, Palantir doesn't just show an error code. It shows exactly which bolt failed, who installed it, who supplied it, and how much money you will lose in the next 4 hours.
They solved the hardest problem in computer science: context. They turned the chaos of the real world into a searchable map.
Chapter 3: The Philosopher King, Alex Karp.
But a weapon is only as dangerous as the person holding it. Meet Alex Karp, the CEO. He is not your typical tech bro. He has a PhD in philosophy. He practices Tai Chi. He doesn't live in Silicon Valley. He lives in a barn in the woods, and he speaks with a brutal honesty that terrifies Wall Street.
But When I'm talking about Europe, Europe is obviously not Europe. You have East and West Europe, and Eastern European countries are very, very different.
While Google and Apple were apologizing for working with the military,
Karp stood up and said, "We exist to kill our enemies and protect our way of life." This is the managerial brilliance or madness of Palantir. They picked a side. They are unapologetically pro-West. They don't sell to China. They don't sell to Russia. Karp positioned his company not as a software vendor, but as a defense contractor for the 21st century. He is the Philosopher King building the sword of the state.
Chapter 4: The Kill Chain, AIP and War. Now we arrive at the most terrifying part: the present day. Palantir has released AIP, Artificial Intelligence Platform. They are now integrating large language models like ChatGPT into the battlefield.
Imagine a general sitting in a tent. He types into a chat box. "Enemy tank detected in Sector 4. Show me options." Instantly, Palantir analyzes satellite data, drone feeds, and available ammunition. It responds. Option A, send F-16. Time to impact, 10 minutes. Option B, send jamming drone. Success rate, 85%. The general clicks option B. The drone launches. This is called the kill chain. Palantir has compressed the time between seeing a target and eliminating a target from days to seconds. This isn't science fiction. This is being used right now in Ukraine. This is being used in the Middle East. Software is now an active participant in war.
Chapter 5: The Corporate Panopticon, Foundry.
But I'm not a terrorist, you say. Why should I care? Because Palantir isn't just for spies anymore. It's for everyone. It's called Palantir Foundry. BP uses it to drill for oil. Airbus uses it to build planes. Ferrari uses it to win races. The NAHS uses it to manage hospitals. Palantir is slowly becoming the operating system of the entire global economy. They are building a world where nothing is hidden. Every inefficiency, every worker, every dollar is tracked, analyzed, and optimized. It creates extreme efficiency, but it also creates extreme surveillance. If your boss uses Palantir, they know exactly how productive you were today. Down to the minute.
The conclusion. The zero-trust future.
In The Lord of the Rings, a Palantir is a magical seeing stone. It allows you to see anything, anywhere, at any time. But in the book, the stone was dangerous. Those who looked into it often went mad or were controlled by what they saw. We have built the seeing stone. We have given governments and corporations the power of absolute vision. The question isn't whether the technology works. We know it works. The question is, can we trust the hands holding the stone? Palantir says they are the good guys. They say they are saving the West.
Germany, unlike, they never neglected their working class. Like, you have two different kinds of vocational schools in Germany. You have for like lower level and high level vocational training in Germany.
But in a world where data is the ultimate weapon, who watches the watchers? Who watches the watchers? Who watches the watchers? Who watches the watchers?